Hey guys, welcome to 6-6. So today we're going to be playing with fraction exponents. So the first thing, we're going to kind of figure out how radical signs and exponents are related. So here's what we're going to try. Taking b to the 1/2 power and squaring that. If I do that, I recognize that that's the same thing as saying b to the 1/2 times b to the 1/2. And I'm remembering through my exponent rules that if you're multiplying the bases, you add the exponents. So this is going to give me b to the 2/2 or just simply 1. Which I know, I don't actually even have to write that one, it's just that. Okay, so you're telling me when I took b to the 1/2 and I squared it, I got just b. Well, hold on a second. I also know that if I have the square root of b and I square that, the square root of a square, the square root of a square or squaring a square root, they cancel each other and give me just b. So no matter where I started today with either b to the 1/2 or the square root of b, I got the same answer. That must mean that the b to the 1/2 and the square root of b are actually equal to each other. Which is true if we think about the fact, what's interesting is if we think about the fact that square roots, if the index isn't written, we know that it's a 2. And everything has a sneaky secret exponent of 1 if it's not written. Do you notice a bit of a pattern? So as I look down at the key concepts here, they explain those in more words. The biggest thing I want you to notice here is this 3 and this 2 coming from the 2/3. And then the fact that you can actually simplify that. So you see how here they said, oh, well, the cube root of 27 is 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Then, so that's how they get to the 3, and then they squared it, pulling that squared over, and 3 squared is 9. So they were able to simplify this down to 9. And you're going to do a little bit of that on your homework. So first things first, we're just going to do some rewriting. What I like to do is kind of grab the bottom, the denominator, and circle it around to the outside to help me remember that the bottom, the denominator, is the index, or the little number, written on my radical sign. And I know that I don't technically have to write the 1, so I don't think I will. Okay, so again, the 4th root of d to the 7th. By the way, it doesn't matter. That time I kind of wrote the 7 underneath the radical sign. I could also have done it like this. They mean the exact same thing. Okay, so 1b. Again, I like to draw that circle around, although this time it kind of goes the other way, so that it is c to the, the 8 goes on bottom. There's nothing written, so how do I know what goes on top? There's always an exponent of 1, if nothing else. So same thing, c to the negative 5/3. Now that would just be strictly rewriting it. Keep in mind that we don't like negative exponents. So I can rewrite this as 1 over c to the positive 5/3. And fractional exponents are okay on top, but we're not going to like to see them on bottom. So what I'm going to do is multiply this by a 1/3. And the reason I'm multiplying it by a 1/3 is I'm looking ahead and thinking, if I add 1/3 to this 5/3, that's going to give me 6/3, which is going to be a nice number. So up top, 1 times c to the 1/3 is just c to the 1/3. Now on bottom, 5/3 plus 1/3 is 6/3. 6/3 simplified is just 2. Okay. I used to kind of teach this a little different, but to follow a little more with what Delta Math does, we actually want to go ahead and look at these problems here. Again, this A is a lot like the one I just did, where I rewrote it down on the bottom first. Now, if you're simplifying, sometimes you want to go ahead and write it with a radical sign, because that's going to help me visualize what is the fourth root of 81. The fourth root of 81 is 3. Now, they kind of wrote it a little funky here where they showed that, oh, you have your index of 4 and 3 to the fourth is 81. But honestly, just the fourth root of 81 is 3. So you're able to simplify so that your final answer is just 1/3. Pretty cool. So now, I'll kind of let you check out one, or B over here, I guess, where I have this 2/3. The way they did it was a little different, where they simplified the base. I probably would have gone here's my cube root of 216, and I'm squaring that. And then I probably would have gone the route of, can you find the cube root of 216? And I think we've already discussed how do you plug that into your calculator. If you plug it in, the cube root is 6. Look, now I'm in the same spot. So 6 squared is 36. Okay, as far as your exponents are concerned, just follow the normal exponent rules as we know them. So I know if I'm multiplying two bases, then I need to add the exponents. So it would be p to the 10 fourths. Of course, simplify if you can. And for B, I've pretty well already done an example like this. But again, you'd want to put this underneath a radical sign. And that's a 1 on top because there was nothing left on top then. And so I'm going to multiply by r to the 1/5 because as I look ahead, I realize that that's what I need to get my denominator to no longer have any fractions. So if I multiply the top, that's just r to the 1/5. And this becomes r to the first power, which of course I don't have to write that it's to the first power, so. All right, it's on Delta Math.